What's up, YouTube? Kilo. Kilo. Go lay down. On your bed. What's up, YouTube? This video is going to be about black and white relations. I did a video about how black and white racism works hand in hand, and how, the things they are against work in their favors. Talked about this. I made this video a while ago. And by this video, I don't mean this particular video, that video. But I made that video a while ago. I talked about some things, some particular things, and how they actually work hand in hand, but kind of make it look like, they were against one another largely. But these groups work for the benefit of one another. But this video isn't about that. This is talking about black and white relations on a social basis. Which means on an everyday basis. The main thing I want to express with you is that the media and the news outlets and stuff like that will depict a very grim picture, like white and blacks don't fuck with each other like that. They don't really get along, They don't agree with each other. They can't live with each other, And even socially, you'll hear people say this because that person personally can't live amongst black people, he feels like. He'll generally say it, a friend said it, or, his mom's friend said this. It's really a lot of, interracial relations is mostly based on the stories of he say, she say. And a lot of us know this game. And if you don't, really is he say, she say means rumors, pretty much somebody told me, or somebody's friend told somebody's friend told somebody's friend, told my baby cousin's mama's Auntie Teresa, sister-in-law, preacher's cousin told me, like that. He say, she say. Kilo, go on your bed. I apologize. He's licking and biting himself, and the sound is irritating. It's making me hard. See, there you go. It's making it hard for me to concentrate. We're getting back to it. That's he say, she say. The most typical example, it's not really hard to understand. That's he say, she say. If the information that you have, that you take as fact, is based off of something that somebody told you, that was also based off of something that somebody told them, that was then also based off of something that somebody told them, etc., etc., in eons of fucking etc., then that's he say, she say. That's what that is. You can call it whatever you want. I don't care who the fuck it is. If what you're saying doesn't come directly from you, and you personally have not experienced it, and somebody is telling you something that somebody else told them, then that's he say, she say, or in other parts known as a rumor. That's what that is. Because a lot of the times rumors are either exaggerated, loosely based on fact, and a lot of the times overly exaggerated, to the point where you can tell it's not even the truth. And I know I said exaggerated in the first one, but sometimes it's just exaggerated lightly, and other times it's just really, really exaggerated. But we're going to get into this. Now you might say, okay, well, what proof do you have that on a social level, black and whites actually get along a lot better than the media outlets and the news channels would have us believe? Look around you. Really. And I mean really look around you. I feel the same way. I feel the same way about my own race. My own race will sit up and down and tell you how somebody did this, and somehow it's all of us. They will tell you how one black man robbed a fucking bank, or 4 black men. I don't care if it's fucking 20 black men. We'll tell you how 20 black men robbed a bank, and somehow this applies to all of us. We've actually adopted this thinking from other people that the few represent the, many. First of all, we're a people. We're not a corporation, and we're not a company. The few, in this instant, does not reflect all of us. I'm sorry. As much as people want it to be that way, that's not how it is. Just like a few racist white people doesn't represent what the majority has to offer. Just like a few gangbangers and thugs don't represent what the minority has to offer as far as the majority. That's the way it is. That's the logical way of approaching it. But you see, we've been conditioned to believe that if one black male acts up, then it's all black males, or it's most black males, it's half black males, and that's a lot of black males, even for half. Even giving inch on a half, that is a lot of black fucking males. There are 40 million black Americans in the United States. That's giving way more than an inch. And that's something we all have to understand. We have to stop using this rhetoric that we can just say all, most, or half just for the fuck of it. Because he knows somebody that is ghetto. I know somebody that's ghetto. He knows somebody that's ghetto. So majority of black people must be ghetto. Doesn't make sense, because you're doing the same thing that they do with these statistical, research. You're doing the same thing. They take a small control group and they say, well, this 1,000 people, 50% of them used to suck on their thumbs when they were babies, and 50% of them preferred a pacifier. So therefore, 50% of America are pacifier suckers, and the other 50% are thumb suckers. That's how statistical data generally works. Generally. Not always, but generally it does. Whether they launched a large poll where it got like 50,000 hits, 50% said that, 56% said that, and 46% said this, or 44% said this. So when it comes down to it, that's how statistical data is generally presented. It's based off of a controlled group of people in which they, get their answers, and then based on that, they apply it to the rest of the population, whatever that population is, whether it be a world view, a country view, an ethnic view, or a, country view. In this example, that view would be the, America, our country. In case we got a couple of viewers that are from other areas. My whole thing is that this stuff doesn't warrant suspicion for a lot of y'all. That you don't even realize that largely black and whites get along a fuck up a lot better than they did 400 fucking years ago. A fuck up a lot better. There are really not many interracial murders between both groups. This has been fucking proven already. Give it up. Whites and blacks are not being killed by the thousands or however high numbers by one another, but by themselves. What a big surprise. But again, a lot of us compare numbers as if a smaller numbers of murders or deaths is somehow not as bad as a bigger number of murders and deaths. Like, I don't get that. Rape of white women from black men is horrible because it's in the 35,000s, but the fact that for white men it's in the, we're not even going to give the number pretty fucking high. This doesn't matter because it only matters that it's black men doing it, but if it's white men, the discussion just ends there. Like, this is the number, okay, bam. Intraracial crime, which is crime from people of the same ethnic group, is generally the majority of crimes that are performed in America. They're normally crimes against one another. That means black man, black victim, white man, white victim, Asian man, Asian victim. Like, that's the way it is. And the statistical data proves it. Interracial deaths are a small little atom in comparison to all the murders. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be cause for concern. I am not saying that. Nor am I saying that, intraracial crime should be more important than interracial crime. I'm not saying that. But a lot of people act as though, somehow that these crimes are the most important, more than other crimes somehow. When, on the flip side, every murder and every crime should be important. You should attack everything with the same perseverance and, outrage, I think. Rather than only being mad when, a white person is killed by a black man, or a white man is, or a black man is killed by a white man. I'm just saying. That makes no sense to me. But, as I said, media outlets would have you believe that these groups don't get along. These groups can't live near each other because there's too many murders, there's too many rapes. Generally, that's fucking wrong. Actually, in most cases, it's wrong. Black and whites get along just fine. They get along a lot better than they used to. And to make it really seem like that they're just murdering each other in huge fucking numbers is bullshit. Most black nationalist and white nationalist groups will have you believe that, whites and blacks are killed by the other color in tens of thousands of fucking numbers. And this is not true. But you see, the only flip side is that the whole blacks kill blacks excuse is only used against blacks. It's not used against whites, because whites kill whites more than anybody else. But that's not used against white nationalist groups. Okay? 92% of blacks kill blacks, 84% of whites kill whites. At the end of the day, blacks and whites are more similar than a lot of us would like to admit. We don't want to admit it, but it's true. They are. Where I live right now, I live in a countryside kind of area. It's somewhat country. It's not really that country, but it's pretty much southern, I guess we'll say. You can go on Craigslist and stuff like that. And I had a buddy show me, because he's bisexual, and I had a buddy show me, and you will see about 100 posts out here about by people that are white, that are gay, or homosexual. Well, most of them aren't gay or homosexual. Most of them are straight, and most of those straight men are married. But they're on there and they're always like, oh yeah, looking for dick to suck on, I am married, so we can't host or nothing like that. They're looking for somebody that's black. Okay? A lot of the times when people want to do threesomes, they're looking for somebody that's black. Alright? The typical chick in Chicago is looking for a BBC, known as a black, big black cock. Which is what they call all black penises, but some of them actually mean it in the literal sense, like, I want a black penis that is big. But this is the truth of the matter, and you can find a lot of posts like that, a lot of them. But people will then again have you believe that these southern people are the most racist bastards in the world, and they're really not. I can honestly say that wholeheartedly. I've been out here for 2 years and some change, and everybody around here has been nice, friendly, and welcoming to me. And this is not just what black people will say is the case. This is what the media depicts of southern people. But as I said, this place isn't that southern, so, I guess I really can't take the entire southern people aren't really as racist as it may seem. Do I run into racist people? Of course, yeah, I do. Do they generally say it to my face or anything? No. But really, those aren't really people I hang around anyway. So what it comes down to is this. and I want to say this right. What it comes down to is this: is that um, a lot of people are treating us as a fetish. More and more, the media is starting to depict black people as positive roles and stuff like that. Blacks are depicted as strong, you know, and nowadays they're starting to be depicted as more intelligent people. As much as we don't want to admit it, we are seeing a change in the image of the black male. The image of the black woman is going down the fucking toilet right now. Aside from the fact that, you know, black women, media-wise, are now starting to date white men, which is stupid to me because I don't feel like it just started when the media did it. It went on, just, it's a decision that every black female will make for herself. You know, media can say whatever it wants. Media has been saying whatever it wants. It may be to sway popular opinion a lot of the times, but not everybody is a fucking lemon. And I need you guys to understand that. A lot of you say that the reason why blacks and whites are starting to have more sexual interactions with each other, you know, whether it be black male, or white female, black male, or white male, black female, isn't because the media is saying that, hey, it's okay. No, that's not the reason why. It's because that even through these relations that we're having with one another, we're starting to find that we aren't really that fucking different. You know, there isn't a lot about us that sets us apart besides our culture. And that's the fucking problem. You know, I've met plenty of white people who's like, yeah, you know, I've met some guys on Craigslist, you know, these are white females, that have told me, like, they were so surprised that these black males weren't thugs, that these black males were actually intelligent, you know, because they don't have a lot of experience with black males. So it piqued their interest to know what they were really like. You know, these those that are racist and try to depict black males as stupid fucking idiots, you know, really you pique the interest of, you know, those that do want to have sexual or like courtship relations with black people. You actually you know, give birth to those inspirations. You know, what inspires them to want to be with black people, because they want to find out if you're correct or not. I mean, no matter whether it's positive or negative, if you say something about somebody, you know, if they personally haven't interacted with that, they personally haven't made those findings on their own, they'll always be curious as if to, you know, are you right about that? Is that really true? You know, if that makes any sense. At the end of the day, a lot of people in the past have tried to depict black males as stupid, stark fucking idiots who have no ambitions, no aspirations to be anything. And a lot of people, white males and white females, are finding this to be false. And now they're looking towards you and saying, what the fuck were you talking about? And they have, actually, people feel like, okay, well, they just haven't met the wrong people yet. They've just been lucky enough to meet the right people. Well, I bring this thought to you, is that they've met the wrong people. 10 times out of 1, you'll hear a lot of people who are white that will talk about black people, and I don't mean in a racist or, you know, type of way, but they'll literally say, like, yeah, you know, you meet your thugs and stuff like that, you meet your gangsters, but, you know, it all depends on what area you're looking at. You know, you can meet some pretty nice black guys, you can meet some pretty nice Hispanic and Puerto Rican guys, you know, depending on where you're looking. And that's not to say that everybody that lives in these particular areas that they were talking about are that way. They're just saying that you typically can meet nicer guys in nicer areas, nicer black guys, you know, or what have you, in these areas. It's like when you're talking to, when you're white, or, you know, I've heard, you can hear black females talk about this in forums, like they've met white guys where they lived and they act just like the black guys. And they said that they only really had experience dating white males. So they moved from an area like a suburban area, and they moved to a city area, and they met, you know, black males who acted just like, you know, they'd seen on TV. You know, majority of them, not all of them, but majority. and they met the white males were the same way, and they just didn't find that same attraction. So at that point, they started dating black males. Now you might say, okay, well, it just for them, I feel like for that particular female, she said it felt unnatural to date a white male that acted in that way, to them. It just didn't seem natural to her because she was used to white males being a certain way. And it's just like when you date a black male from suburban areas, or black males that are more, I guess, tamed or whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean, is how one of the females related in her form that when you meet black males or men, period, that are more tame, that are more like,
I just had a spot of tea.
If you will. That's just a goofy, stereotypical impersonation because I'm a suburban kid. But you meet a guy like that, and then you start meeting males that are just like you see on TV, and it appears to be stupid to you. Now, like I said, in her form, she did say that the black guys acted like the guys from TV, but she dated them because she felt like she couldn't date a white male like that didn't appeal to her like the white males in suburban areas did. She didn't really have black males in her area. So I don't know what it was that made her, humans are humans. Humans choose what they want to choose. But at the end of the day, all I'm trying to tell you is that your perception of a people will always be splintered. People will always prove you wrong. If you're racist and you only think of a race in a negative light, you will always be proven wrong. You can be a black male and call every white person a devil, but at the end of the day, you will meet plenty of white people who aren't devils. Unfortunately. And I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of the times that will depend on where you're looking. If you can honestly tell me that you've met a black male who scored really good on his report card and you've talked to him and you felt like at any moment he was just going to put a fucking gun to your head, like, come on. A lot of the times it's your environment. Some people, yes, can be born into a suburban area and still think that their life was tough and they gotta be hard. Yeah, you meet a lot of those clowns. I grew up in suburban areas. I met plenty of blacks that tried to act like they were thugs, that they were from the city. I'm from the city. I was born in the city. I was raised a suburban kid for about a good 5 or 6 years, and then I moved back to the city. So I in the suburban area, I met kids that were like, yeah, I'm from Chicago, don't fuck with me. That just literally because they were scared, they didn't want anybody to fuck with them because they knew if they said they were from Chicago, they were from the city. Being from those areas, being from those southern areas, we viewed city people as being like hard, like they were tough. That's how we viewed them, So when you said you were from the city, nobody wanted to fuck with you. Well, not a lot of people wanted to anyway. But that's how it is. It's all about perception, people. That's all I'm trying to say. If you perceive a people to be a certain way, you will always be proven wrong. Almost always. 9 out of 10 times you will be proven wrong. I lived in a city a lot of my life. A good part of my life was, lived out in the city. I'm a black male. I've never been in a gang. I have no tattoos. I have no weapons other than the guns. Just a joke. Calm down. I got no tattoos whatsoever. No piercings. No nothing. No piercing at all. None in the tongue. Got none of that shit. So at the end of the day, I've just destroyed like 30 fucking stereotypes with just that. Even the way I speak and the way I articulate my ideals that are flowing straight from my brain. This is not written or pre-screened, pre-practiced or any of that shit. This is just me speaking to you. Stereotypes are bullshits. And I do mean that. Stereotypes are bullshits. They come in a multitude of varieties. They're the smallest things that could be used to, connect the dots between any person of any color or of any culture, of any age or gender. Younger people are known to be lively and energetic and never listen. So adults can't be that way? That's a stereotype of kids. Not all kids are that way. You can meet a lot of kids that way, But at the end of the day, not every kid is that way. Just like not every adult is mature. There's a lot of adults who are not mature. I mean, and a lot of adults who are not fucking mature. But it's all about what you choose to perceive. You choose to perceive things that way. You can, like, I've seen people hop on YouTube in the comments and be like, I'm sorry, but black people are just thugs. They're just niggers. Like, I'm sorry, I met too many black people that were act like thugs and niggers. And at the end of the day, that's the perception he chooses. He's on the video of a guy with a freaking master's degree who was black. And, yeah, some of them will say, I'm sorry, but, you're an exception. The rest, yeah, I've heard that before. I'm like, well, what do you mean the rest? Because you still have my family. My family aren't a bunch of gun-toting, thug, gang-banging people. I have 2 people that were in gangs in my family on my mother's side. The rest, hard-working people. Well, one still isn't. One of the thugs isn't really a hard-working person, but the rest of them are. We all have lazy people in our family. We all have somebody in our family or in our ethnic group or in our race, or whatever you want to call it, that is not hardworking. That is a menace to fucking society. And you know what? At the end of the day, between the ethnic groups, there have been a lot of crimes done to blacks. And there have been crimes done to whites. And I mean in the current day, there are crimes being done to whites. There are crimes that whites do to blacks, even till this day. And it might not be on the scale of murder. You might not be physically murdering, the white ethnic group may not be physically murdering, but hey, murder is the highest crime you can do. Laundering money and, setting up Ponzi schemes, stuff like that really isn't considered to be that illegal. Stealing money, without a gun is really not seen as being that bad. With a gun, oh yeah, you can bet they're getting your ass. I've heard a politic get on. I don't know who it is, and please, if you know him, comment him. He said something about that he feels like a crime isn't really a crime if you're not held up at gunpoint. So pretty much he's saying that white-collar crimes aren't really that bad because they don't involve guns, violence, fear. Forget about the fact that when people lose all their money, they tend to want to turn to guns, violence, fear, and thoughts of suicide. Forget all that. But, apparently having your money stolen where a gun wasn't pointed at you is not really as bad as actually pointing a gun at somebody and stealing what they currently have on them in comparison to taking their life savings. You know what? That felt good. I think I'm going to end it right there. Think about it.